Welcome, folks, to A Piece of CX. This week, we're taking a look at the Zoom Contact Center experience and some updates into CX Analytics and some of the other things that you can play with. So, a couple of significant updates here. And what's interesting is that these are the kind of things that when I'm on site with customers and they're in the supervisor or dashboard module, I often get asked, is there any way we can get alerts? And generally, the answer is, yeah, if you keep the window open, we might have some audio alerts, that kind of thing. But what's really interesting here is Zoom have taken a different direction. So we still have our dashboards, and I have a dashboard here. We will come back to that later in this conversation. But underneath notifications, I now have the option to create all kinds of notifications. So if I go and add one here, we'll call it test because there's already one called test. Test 2. If we go into this, at the moment, we're only looking at CX Analytics. The fact that this is a drop down is really intriguing to me because what else is to follow? Maybe we're going to look at our virtual agent and how that's working. Although we have that elsewhere, actually, in virtual agent, thinking about it. Maybe it's going to be quality. Maybe it's going to be WFM. Who knows? But I like the fact it's a drop down menu. And then we create our rules and we say our data type, whether it's real time or intraday. And then we look at what we're looking at: agent performance, agent time card, engagements, queue performance. There's a lot of things you can do here. So if I go queue performance and look at, I don't know, out of SLA, sum, look back, last 8 hours, target, queue, add all my various different ones. And then I set what my thresholds are. Now I've got 2 levels. I've got warning, and then I can add another one for critical. And then I say the alert frequency when I want it to, and I have some destinations here. This is where it gets really interesting. Email, push notification, and team chat. So email, everyone knows what email is. Get an email to your inbox. So you may not want this monitoring 24 hours a day. Likewise, team chat. You may not want this alerting 24 hours a day, bring it in line with when your contact center is up and running. But this sends an alert through to the Zoom chat, which we'll have a look at in a moment. Push notification. If you're logged in as an agent or a supervisor in Zoom, then you're going to get an alert in the application. These are really easy to set up as well. You just go into them and you say who you want it to go to, all that kind of good stuff. So here's one I made earlier. Let's cancel out of that. Let's have a look here at in-queue waiting. So I've got in-queue waiting is greater than or equal to 1, critical is 2, it's not a busy contact center, and then I've got this going to 3 different places. So let me minimize this. Let's bring our agent in, and let's first make myself unavailable. So what we should see happen is when I place a call in, we're going to get an alert. There you go. So you decide the frequency for this, but we can see we are now getting that little alert that says greater than or equal to 1, trigger, demo voice. If I go and take that call, then that is going to improve things. Now, you may notice there are some updates to my agent experience here. I've got a combined history across all of my different interactions. That is for another video at another time, so don't worry about that right now. I'm also going to abandon that just because I know I've also got a stat on abandon. And in fact, what I'm going to do is carry on abandoning a couple more calls, completely wrecking some of my SLAs today on purpose. So we'll let that queue. I flipped across to chat and we can see what these alerts look like in chat. So I can see I've got in-queue waiting high. I've got my service level. It's just gone underneath 60. So we've got an alert for that. And you'll see we've got different alerts here. So Georgia not being available, service level changing through the day, all that kind of stuff. The only thing we don't actually have is the ability to say this is improved. But then do you need to know that? I don't know. Just food for thought there. So that's your in-app alert and your team chat. What does an email look like? Well, it looks like this. You just get an email and it says, this is what's going on. And you say what the alert is and it tells you what's going on. 3 really easy ways for you to get alerts and information about what is going on in your contact center. Now, further to this, there have been some more updates within the Zoom stack within CX Analytics. So CX Analytics, if you're using legacy, please jump on board CX Analytics. It's here, it's the future. There are 2 new reports. You can find them in reports. One is called Agent Load, and one is called Skill and Intent Routing Performance. Now, intent routing is brand new, and again, a future video on that to follow soon. These do not look like they have any data in them because they're on a demo platform, and we haven't set up intent routing just yet either. Likewise, agent load, we've just been handling a few voice calls today, so we don't have too much going on here. But 2 new reports, and you'll also see a new button here, custom measures. Again, this is really interesting. You've got all of your different data sets, and you can add things to them in both reporting and in agent performance. So what does that actually mean? Well, this is your ability to create your own metrics. So if you've got something out of the box, now Zoom have a lot of metrics out of the box, but say you want something slightly different. Say you want to put some maths into it. Say you want to play around with things. You can go and create your own. So here I've got agent holds per transfer dash. So I've created one for the dashboards, and I'm doing a sum of holds divided by transfers initiated. Not sure why you would use that, but it's there. And I've got another one on queue performance as well. So long abandons times duration. Again, I'm not sure you would really need that as its own thing, but it's great to be able to play around with these things. There will be times, and we've seen this on other vendors as well, there'll be times where you want your own metrics. And this is just a great way to bring them in. If we go into the volume editor here, you can just start putting more things in here. Insert argument, you put an @ and then you put your channel, your measure, your timestamp, anything you want to. And we will just leave that alone. When we bring it into a dashboard or a report, this is what you can do with it. So my long abandons X duration in the last 12 hours is a number that is completely unfathomable. Again, I don't think it's a useful metric just because I created it. And agent holds per transfer dash, I have not created anything there. Likewise, when you're in reports, you can add things. So if I go into edit here, and I'm going to have to move myself over here for now, what you'll see is your custom metrics are down the bottom. Sorry, custom measures are down the bottom. So you can easily get to them, and you could probably get to them a lot easier if you actually just minimize a few of these. But you'll see there's a huge amount that you can utilize out of the box with Zoom. But if you want to create your own, just chuck them in as you need to. So there you have it. Some really interesting updates on the analytical side for Zoom. So custom measures, so you can have your own metrics, essentially. A couple of new reports and those alerts, so those notifications on your analytics, so that you can be aware of what's going on really easily from so you can know what's going on without having to be within your contact center looking at dashboards all the time. So there you have it. Thank you very much for joining A Piece of CX. We'll see you again soon.